G'day crew. We've been away for a little while here. Well, I haven't, but Lou, the camera lady, she had to go to Broome to do a little bit of work with the camels up there. So we've been offline. Where we're up to now, you remember Munji? Munji's doing really well. So basically, we're here at Shark Bay at the moment. We've got a few more camels while Lou was away. But before we go into that, we just want to show you the last bit of footage from the trip out of the desert where these guys came to the coast and went to Perth City. It was pretty entertaining, so enjoy that one, crew. After that, we'll get right back into the action here at Shark Bay. You behave yourself. So we're just off the main street of Coolgardie. Classic old pubs and the old hotels. Now you might notice as we pan around, the streets, they're really wide. Okay, now there's a good reason why the streets are wide here. In all the gold fields out here is the old camel teams. 4 cars, they used to load all the camels up. Camels carrying roughly, you know, up to half a tonne each, would walk around. Now with a camel, when he's loaded, you can't spin him on the spot. You can bust his hips. So they do the big arc around, the big strings. That's why the streets are really wide in all these towns. Now the main reason we're here is we're going to visit the grave of Ernest Giles, the old famous explorer, Western Deserts, who in his last couple of expeditions, he used camels. Just over there is the old post office, right on the corner there with the clock. That's where Giles worked right before he died, and he's buried just up here in the old Pioneer Cemetery. Coolgardie, Camels, this is for you, Giles. So this is it. This is Giles's old post office here. This old building, this is where he spent his last days. Now there was a story I picked up along the way that old Giles, he might have handed Lassiter his old maps, where there was a rumour that Giles might have found that gold reef, but he couldn't grab it because he's on a government expedition, would have lost claim for it. Lassiter then might have picked up the reef and headed out from old Giles's maps. Now I'm not too sure, there is a book on it called Giles and Lassiter, but this is where Giles spent his last days, here in the Coolgardie post office. This is probably where Ernest Giles hung out. Check it out, his main street. Good old Giles. Spot. Where we are, we're at Coolgardie Cemetery. Just over here is the grave of Ernest Giles. Okay, Ernest Giles, that famous explorer, an explorer I read a lot about in my younger years, and also with 5 camels I retraversed one of his treks through the central deserts right out to a place called Warburton in the Western Deserts. Okay, so his grave's just over here. We're going to go and check him out now and give old Giles respect. Just over there, boys. This one's for you, Giles, and bring your camels. Giles travelled with camels. 3 expeditions he did actually by horse, and the last 2 he did by camel, all the way to the west coast and all the way back again to Central Australia. So we brought these guys over to say good day to him. We'll go and check him out now. Well, these old cemeteries, they're always classy to visit, full of history and some pretty wild ones. Somewhere down here, it's one of these ones here, Ernest Giles' grave. So where are you, Ernest? Here he is, look. Old Giles. Yeah, Giles, back in the 1870s, he led out probably about 5 major expeditions. Okay, like I said, he discovered places like the Olgas, Kings Canyon country out in Central Australia. Rightio. Here's his grave over here. And he walked right out across to the Western Deserts. His first expeditions were all on horseback. Now horses need water all the time. he was forced to come back. Eventually he got Camels off Sir Thomas Elder down in South Australia, and he crossed all the way across the Great Victoria Desert before arriving in Perth. Now, he was one of the most, let's say, he explored more places and travelled further than any other explorer in Australia. It was only Colonel Warburton, was armed with about 19 camels, crossed all the way to the west coast from Central, that actually beat him. Right, it was a very ill-fated trip, that one of Warburton's. Giles, unfortunately, not so celebrated. One reason is he wasn't the first, and the second reason is he didn't die out there. He's got some great books to read, Twice Traversed by Ernest Giles. This man is a legend, okay? There wasn't so many as hardy as this bloke, and this is where he spent his last few days, in the post office down there in Main Town. Here's where he lies. Salute to you, Ernest Giles. Well, that was it. He started out 1872. His last trip was in 1876. Now his second trip that he did with Gibson. When Gibson died, perished out there, went missing, never found again, never heard of again. Hence the name the Gibson Desert. It was this trip that I followed back in 2002. I had 5 camels with me. I had his journals, and on my own I followed all the way out across to the Western Deserts, finished up in Warburton, a community out there. This bloke here, Ernest, he went a little bit further past Warburton where he found an old well, and that was the furthest reach he could get before having to retreat. The Gibson Desert's pretty long, extensive, and a little bit too hard with horses, but certainly when I was out there with my camels, it was a lot easier than what he was going through with his horses needing water every day. But I tell you what, I'm in awe of this because he's been one of my heroes forever, old Giles. Yeah, he did a lot of his trips over the summertime out in that desert, and they were pulling massive days, doing them 50 kilometres a day in summer heat out there in the desert, pushing those horses, and at night they had to dig to find water in those creeks. So they were extremely tough, these old explorers. Absolutely in awe to sit here with Giles with this feeling, you know, it's pretty exciting. Anyway, we'll leave him to rest now, but it's good to finally meet you, mate. Giles. Hey, ready to hit the road? Had your history lesson today, haven't you, in Coolgardie? You like it? All right, we're out of here. Those guys are keen to cruise. Well, it's pretty cool. We got into Southern Cross. Rebecca's got a horse paddock. She lets horses come in here to have a little respite and rest, and she even had one for the camels. Now, the beautiful part about this is, just over behind me in the tree, the red-tailed black cockatoos. So they'll be singing us into the sunset tonight. Camels are happy. I'm happy. Got a nice bale of hay we got from Coolgardie. These guys are loving that tonight. Yeah, a little mess. Hey. Now, it's been a long trip. We've come a long way with these guys, all the way from the desert right through to here. Been on that trailer for a while. I've had a little bit of a break, but every chance you get, it's good to get them out and give them a rest. And they're the better for it. They're easy to load now. Walk straight off by themselves. They know the game now. They're quite enjoying it. Little Miss Black gets a little bit wary if there's a road train up our bum. She gets a little bit nervous of that. This bloke here doesn't care. But starting to act a little bit like brothers and sisters. Getting on the road, long trip. What do little brothers and sisters do? They play up a bit. So he's nipping her, she's nipping him, having that good game there in the back. But we're not far from the big city now. We'll be heading to Perth. About 400 k's to go. We'll see how these guys react when they get to the big smoke. Hey, the grand tour. Come on, little girl. We just come into the outskirts of Perth. We're in the big city. taking these boys for a bit of a learning curve in the city, and also today the plan is it's going to be the first day these guys ever get to see the ocean, so it's really exciting. We've got a beach down south of Fremantle, Horse Beach. We can take them, give them that experience. It's going to be great. We'll take them through the city, get them used to all this madness of the big smoke. Really good for camels, especially in the trailers. It gets them used to so much. One of the hardest things would be going under a tunnel. We might even have a look at that today. We'll see how they go. But at the moment, traffic everywhere. Camels have got their heads out. They look pretty excited. You can sort of go up to his mouth, just watch him, he's a bull. So we just pulled up here in Scarborough. First time in the city for the camels over here. People are a little bit interested in it. First time they've seen the ocean, so the reaction's not too much at the moment. But anyway, welcome to the big smoke, fellas. Scarborough. Just been Scarborough, Cottesloe. Camels are loving it. People are loving it. Coming from everywhere, big grins. Camels are getting a good view. Look, there's the coast there, right behind us with their heads out the window. This is a great day. Right now, we're heading down to Fremantle. Go and show them Fremantle. Well, there we go, we've just got to the beach. Today's the big moment where these guys are going to be touching the sand, seeing the salt water for the first time. Pretty excited there, really ran into you, didn't we? I'm going to saddle them up, we'll head down now. And we're just checking on their response here. It's always an amazing thing to do with your camels. When you first get them out of the desert, the first time they've reached the ocean. It's a big moment. Okay? Biggest water hole these guys have ever seen. Stand there, big fella. So we'll get them going now. It's a little bit windy today. The ocean will be cold. I'll be pretty excited. Come on, big fella. Get your saddle on. Well, it's always an exciting moment. Hey, first time you've seen the ocean, isn't it, big fella? Just going to saddle him up, tie a little one onto the back of him, head down to that beach. Right, you ready, little girl? Let me go and see the ocean. Let's go. First time on the Indian Ocean, or any ocean. It's always one of the greatest days ever. I love this. Okay, look at his eyes, his nose are flaring up. They do get wary of the little white line coming up on the water. It's a little bit tricky. He's having a little spell now. Take him one more step further. Up a little step, mate. There he goes, he's touched. Right there. Right that big foot. There we go. Not scared of it, just wants to have a little bit of a look. Get him a little bit deep here. But that's it, the camels have touched the Indian Ocean. deserts all the way to the coast. It's been such a wild journey in the trailer. So this is good because our next stage we're heading up the coast, train some more camels. So it's good that they're going to get used to the sea. Nice and steady, this fella. Beach, will you see that? It's unreal. Munji's gone and drank the ocean. Our camels, they can drink the ocean, they can live off it. They handle very high salt content in the water. It's pretty cool. It's always an intense moment, taking a big animal down to the ocean for the first time. He's handled it well. And yeah, the drinking of the salt water, that's one thing that always blows me out about a camel. You can walk them up the coast, they can live on it. They can handle a higher salt content than ocean water. So often when the tide goes out in the rock pools, you like that little girl? That's part of what they like. So let him have a feed here on the bush right now. Let him have a chill out, a bit of reward. Such a great journey, an epic journey all the way to the coast. Come on girl, we'll get you some breakfast too.